guys? Nato Ace here once again, and this is going to be some of you vlog I'm gonna do in the month of April. I know it's March right now, but I just want to start it now. But it's gonna be basically vlogs for the month of April, and the topic I'll be talking about throughout this month is my thoughts on WrestleMania 31. WrestleMania 31, like I said before, that I was gonna plan to watch it, and I did. I'm gonna give my thoughts about it, and then of course my full thought on Nintendo Mobile and NX. You seen me do some preview vlog about it, just giving my thoughts just out of my mind, like. But now I want to talk more about it, like more in detail. That's the reason that's gonna be like a formal vlog there, and then my thoughts on the latest update on PSN Yukimura, and you say, well, why are you even talking about the latest update? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I just want to give my thoughts about it, and basically, sort of like they want to give my thoughts. There's not just a decision that Sony does that sometimes it just doesn't work or doesn't benefit the consumer. So I want to give my thoughts about that one. And last is Dynasty Warrior 8, or basically my current position with Tecmo Koei or any Japanese company who basically omit dub on their games. And like I said before in one of my video or my video about hashtag no dub no buy, I do have a, like I said, I'm always on the side that the game should be dubbed, especially something like a fast action paced game such as Dynasty Warrior game, because they're fast. And then I did explain it, but I want to give my thoughts specifically with Dynasty Warrior 8, because like I said, I have bought the game, and at the same time been thinking about it also, that it's great to have dub on games, but maybe should be a balance, and I'm gonna think about it, or talk about it. Excuse me, think about it. So my thoughts about it. So I'm not. So don't worry. Excuse me. I'm not gonna be bashing Tecmo Koei. That's done. I mean, it would be nice, but they're not gonna do it. Can't do anything about it. So if you want to compromise, I have to compromise. So those are going to be the blog for the month of April. So the first thing I want to really talk about here is going to be really is WrestleMania 31. But this time it's not going to be my like multiple part review which I did with WrestleMania 30. So I'm just going to give my thoughts about it and a probably quick review of the matches, because all I can say about it, like, yes, I did watch WrestleMania 31 by the WWE Network, that you can basically go for a month for $9.99. And what are my thoughts right now of WWE Network right now? Yeah, they did some changes. Thank goodness there's no more than 6-month commitment. They got rid of that one. But at the cost of what? Now there's going to be commercial on the WWE Network. Well, can't really do anything about it. Hulu does the same thing. Gotta keep in mind, they gotta make money. Yeah, it isn't unfortunate that they have to put ads on the network, but again, look what happened before. For $10 a month, you can watch pay-per-view versus going to a cable, but not a lot of people sign up because, well, $10 for everything wrestling, really? It's like, unless you're a hardcore WWE fan or wrestling fan, you're probably not gonna subscribe to that one. Can understand. It's not like Hulu or Netflix. Netflix is understandable because there's a lot of movies you can watch. Maybe not all of them, but there's a lot. Same goes with Hulu, television show. And of course, push cut to shove, there are some people who will go to the internet and watch it for free. Wink, wink. So that's why. So right now, my thoughts about the network, it's good. There's no more the commitment. You can cancel anytime, and they got more shows. So they're adding more and more. So they keep pumping it out. So there you go. So I think it's a good deal. Well, if you like to watch pay-per-views, then yeah, it's $10 for watching a pay-per-view plus more. Or you can pay $50, $60 to watch the pay-per-view for your cable. It's up to you. So with that, what are my thoughts on WrestleMania 31? Well, I can say it's much better than WrestleMania 30. The matches, how they perform, how they entertain the fans was much better, I can say. Especially the main event. People thought that, oh man, it's going to be Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar part 2. And it wasn't, actually. It was a surprise. It was even a surprise. So, props to WWE But still, in my opinion, and I know some people, some the WWE fan probably gonna agree, they still need to get improvement. They need to improve more, especially the writers. The writers. I know there's not a lot of competition. I don't think TNA is a competition. Lucha Underground is not a competition. But the warning there is you gotta understand. You gotta be careful. Don't slack up just because you don't have any competition because they can catch up. That can happen. Just saying. So I'm gonna just basically do is give my thoughts on each match that was interesting to me, and I'll give my thoughts about it and maybe a quick review. Yeah, it's not gonna be like a long part like I did last year, like a multiple part. So this one I'm gonna try to keep it short as the best of my ability. So here we go. The first one is we're gonna talk about the pre-show. First is the tag team, four-way tag team. All I can say is it was entertaining. They were doing moves that you never seen. It was actually interesting. It wasn't boring. People were they were actually incoordinate. It was even entertaining that even the let's just say like Natalia, Cameron, El Torito, Big E. I think because he wasn't part of it, they were actually getting involved, and it was crazy. They were doing some crazy move, multiple suplex, backflip, you name it. But of course, it was even with the good performance in the end. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd won. Yeah, I can agree. So I give it overall 8 out of 10, pretty good. So the next one is the Under the Giant Battle Royale, which is the second the second annual for Wrestlemania. It's actually pretty good because even the beginning was good. We saw some a lot of wrestler that you haven't seen it for a while. Bo Dallas was there, Alex Riley, and of course Hideo Katama, aka Kenta, actually was there because he won like one of the WWE Access Battle Royale, so that's why he was in the Under the Giant. Yeah, of course, it's your average Battle Royale over the top. And it was funny, Axelmania, which, I don't know, it's a funny gimmick, it's entertaining. First one out, of course, because you think, oh, he'll be the winner, but of course, because you keep bragging about it, of course, you're the first one to get out. So after a while, wrestling, your average battle royale. I'm just surprised that somewhere in the middle of the match, Kane actually got thrown off the ring. Unlike in Royal Rumble 2015, they were the last four. Oh, come on, but but in the end, it was very interesting, especially when it was just Big Show, Miz, and Mizdow. Finally, Mizdow said, "Forget it. I quit. I don't want to be with. I don't want to be Miz." So he threw him off. And then Miz was basically got ballistic. And of course, the last two was Big Show and Damien Mizdow. And I was hoping for Mizdow to be like, let's see what he's gonna do. Is he anything he can do? And of course, in the end, he tried everything, and of course, he still failed. And the winner was Big Show. Was the ending a bit disappointing because Mizdow didn't win? In my opinion, nah. I think it makes sense for Big Show because remember, just like some of those top wrestlers, Big Show is a top tier wrestler. He was popular. He was there in the Monday Night War, and he went to the Attitude Era, and he did win, I think, a lot of the major belt. So, of course, one thing that he didn't win is the Andre the Giant trophy. So, to me, it makes sense. So at least now he accomplished everything. So now he can probably sooner or later he can finally now say, I'm going to be part time or I'm going to retire soon. Because no offense to the Big Show, he's been there long since the 1990s. So I think in his 40s, maybe 50s. I'm not really sure. I think he's 40 years old right now. So yeah, I mean he's getting there. A typical wrestler quits, I think, by age of 60. If you got a lot of gas left, then probably 60. But most common age is somewhere in their mid 50s to early 60s when they retire. So again, it makes sense for Big Show to do it. Even that's prop. I mean, even makes sense now. So you got. Well, I'm going to talk about that later. But again, props to Big Show for being the winner of the Under the Giant. Now he has everything. So I give that a 9 out of 10. It was very entertaining. So the next one is the Intercontinental Ladder match. Again, just like the four-way tag team, it was very interesting. They were using how they're utilizing the ladder, using it as a weapon, and even at one point, I forgot. I think it was Stardust was using a ladder to Dean Ambrose, like trying to clap it to his leg. That was crazy. Flying with the ladder, and the only one that kind of concerned me was when Luke Harper powerbombed Dean Ambrose outside through a ladder that was just planking. I was like, oh, that gotta hurt. But of course, the next day it was still active. So, but gee, that's just crazy. But again, that's what wrestlers do. That's part of being a wrestler. And in the end, kind of get sort of cheesy because it was Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. They were just trying to headbutt each other on the ladder. I mean, there was a part when they were just trying to beat each other in the ladder, and then the last two was Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler. They were just headbutting each other, and then of course in the end, Dolph Ziggler lost a headbutt contest, and Daniel Bryan won. So again, it was very entertaining. Performance was pretty good. There was no mishap, which is again, it looks bad. And by making Daniel Bryan win the Intercontinental Championship belt, hey, at least he's a champion again, which people want. They want him to be champion again, but maybe they'll do something in the long run. So props, and again, another one, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Pretty entertaining. And then the next after one was, I think, I'm trying to remember this at the top of my head, Seth Rollins versus and Randy Orton. Yeah, it's a typical match, pretty good, but what it really was awesome was in the very end. So they did some good performance matches, some good combination RKO. They're trying to do RKO curve center, so it's counter. And then this is the best part. I'm just gonna go to the end. That Randy Orton to some extent was like groggy, and Seth Rollins was gonna try to do another curb stomp. But what they did was, this is crazy, is that when I say Seth Rollins, he ran to Randy Orton, he jumped up, kind of like pretending he's trying to do a curb jump, but he jumped up, and then because he jumped so way up, what happened was is that he started to do a position of doing the RKO, because guess what? Randy Orton was able to do RKO while Seth Rollins pretending that, oh man, he missed the curve stop, and then he actually caught him. It looks so fluent. I'm like, oh, that I have to say, like, wow, that actually worked. It flowed well, pretty awesome, I say. I give that like a 9 out of 10 there. So again, pretty good match. It started sort of like, oh, okay, it was kind of not as slow, but just average. But in the end, when he did that RKO, like while Seth Rollins falling down, boom, that was pretty good. So again, that was awesome there. Props to that. Like I said, 9 out of 10. All right. Let's see. Well, sheesh. Star Kid, Randy Orton. Okay. I'm just gonna go mix. I can't really remember the order, but I'm looking at WWE website right now, and I'm just looking at the list. So I'm just gonna give my thoughts on this. Sorry if it's gonna be out of order, but I'm really getting confused with this thing. So okay. The next one I'm going to be talking about, AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. Surprisingly, it was better than last year's Diva Battle Royale. And I guess also because let's just say because that one was after The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, and you know what happened there. I don't need to talk about it. So this one, I guess it was before, which is a good move. It was a good move, and I'll talk about that one. All I can say is pretty good. They actually do moves for Diva. They were actually doing some good technical move performance wise. So I give it an 8 out of 10. There's really nothing much to talk about. It's just they were actually doing what they're doing as a wrestler, doing good move, doing performances pretty good, and people were actually in tune. And of course, it was also a good idea that it was before The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt match. So that's a good move. 8 out of 10. Alright, let's see. Ah, okay, the next one. I'm surprised this one's a mid. This one is a mid card. I don't know why, but I guess you need something mid. Triple H versus Sting. Okay, first of all, I know it's WrestleMania. It's people say the Super Bowl of wrestling, but it's the biggest match. That's why I watched it. Triple H with all this gimmick interest. I'm sorry to say, he's getting old. It's not working for him. He looks like he's cosplaying. Last year he did it as, I think it was Conan the Barbarian or something, or Highlander. I don't even remember. Even he used to do this always in WrestleMania. I know you want to be fancy, but unfortunately for Triple H, he's getting old. And the Terminator thing, I know because Terminator is going to be on theater during the summer. It's like basically watching an old man cosplay. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Sorry. Maybe some people think it looks cool, but to me, Triple H wearing that weird Terminator get up, he's too old. I'm sorry. He's old. He's getting in his 50s. He may be still a good wrestler, good body trainer, but cosplaying wise, I don't know. I just want to get out there. But okay, so what I think about Sting versus Triple H? Yep, it was pretty good even for old matches. Because like what Hulk Hogan said, what people don't understand is that Sting, even in his 50s, the reason why he's still good at it is that he's a very active wrestler. That's what people don't understand. People might say, "Oh, ever since WCW he doesn't wrestle." No, well, you've seen him TNA. He also goes to independent wrestling, and also this is gonna be like an offside topic. He also have his own special organization that he does that involves wrestling. So there you go. So he is very active when he does wrestling. That's why when Hulk Hogan, if you watch the 2K15 reveal roster, Hogan did say that that Sting, it's not like he has one more match. He has a couple of matches he can do. He still have a full tank. Maybe one last reserve, but he still can do it even in his mid 50. That's when people said, "Oh, he still got it," because for a wrestler who in his mid 50s, excuse me, he still got it. So yeah, but unfortunately, it wasn't really about Sting versus Triple. It was more about WCW versus WWE, DX versus NWO. Yeah, I thought it was just a common match of Triple H and Sting, because he even said like, "I'm not going to fight for WCW," but no, to some extent it was entertaining, but it was just basically too much reference, and the reference is the Monday Night War. And if you have the WWE Network and you watch that series Monday Night War, yeah, there's a lot of story there, and basically this is a time when there was no internet. There was no Hulu, there was no Netflix, there's no YouTube, or better yet, there's no cell phone. Cell phone was still in its infant stage, along with the internet. The internet was in infant stage. It was a time that the only way to watch wrestling is television. There's not even called a DVR. That's the thing. That's why the Monday Night War worked, because a lot of the technology wasn't there. You pull that right now, nobody's going to care. It's going to be on Hulu. It's going to be on demand. You name it. It's going to be there. So, again, most of these, the match is pretty good. That's why I got a prop. It's just that it was just too much reference about the Monday Night War. And for Sting to lose, I kind of bit disappointing. But I know, the reference is that WWE won against WCW. That's why. So, again, good match, a lot of reference. I'll give it a 9. I would give it a 10, but the Monday Night War reference, I guess in my opinion, it didn't have to happen, but whatever, It's, again, like I said, it's up to the writer. They just probably want to do some reference for the older fans. Alright, so, good match, 9 out of 10. Alright, so the next one is John Cena versus Rusev. Yeah, that's expected. It's just your match. It's kind of like it's the same match I get if you watch Fastlane. Never give up. Your average match. I mean, it was pretty good, but there's no surprise there. Lana trying to help, of course, it didn't help. And I knew John Cena's going to win because this WrestleMania. You have to make John Cena win. You need a new storyline. You can't really keep having Rusev Crush, Rusev Invincible, I am undefeated. Any wrestler has to be defeated. There is no such thing as an undefeated wrestler. That's the thing. Even Goldberg, even anyone. Because that's now just way too fictional. You gotta be a little bit realistic, even so wrestling is, entertainment. So I give it 8 out of 10. And again, if you notice why 8 and 9, because again, it is still good. It wasn't boring. That's why. Like they done what they do. It was pretty good. It was worth watching. I wasn't falling asleep. So after that one, of course, the to some extent, The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. Oh boy! So the first thing I thought in my head is, okay, Undertaker. I think is somewhere 50, 52, 53. I was a little bit concerned because he's the opposite of what Sting is. The difference is this guy, even if it doesn't look all in his 50s, he's really, really just. He wrestles like an old man. I'm sorry, it just is. But I know he could be faking it also. I have no idea. The only reason it's kind of hard to believe because of last year, what happened with Brock Lesnar. That was just also another weird, like, that match wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. And The Undertaker did have a concussion. He did. That was the problem. And that's why people were like, is Bray Wyatt gonna be doing all the moves? Is he gonna basically just hold Undertaker's hand and make the match good? Surprisingly, Undertaker was actually good. He was actually doing stuff. He was actually able to do move. And I know to some extent, well, he looks so tired when he wrestled. Well, that sort of is also, I guess, again, it's hard to say. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. But it's also part of his character. Because he's the old man, he's the old dead man, and you got Bray Wyatt, who is basically the new fear of WWE. So again, it was pretty good. Multiple Abigail kiss and more multiple tombstone. Pretty so like they never give up, but of course in the end, Undertaker won. So yeah, the match was good. But do people gonna care about the streak now? And I guess the news story is it's not about the streak now. That's like it's not about the streak. It's about now Undertaker is making a comeback. He's rejuvenated once more. Let's do this once more again. Forget about the WrestleMania streak. That was done. Because there is no more WrestleMania streak. 22-1. That one's gonna stay there. And okay, and for people complaining about it. Yeah, I think to some extent it was stupid. Heck, even Brock Lesnar even thought it was stupid. And here's the backstory that I listened to a lot of podcasts about this. Is that according to sources, it was Undertaker's idea. So if you got a problem with that, losing the streak to Brock Lesnar, hey, blame it to the Undertaker. According to sources, it was his idea to lose the streak to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar even said he didn't want to do it. He said he didn't want to do that one. He didn't want to be the one. But because at the same time, Brock Lesnar has his own his character or his persona, which is supposed to be the beast incarnate, and there's a reason why. That's his gimmick. That's always been his gimmick ever since he joined WWE. And I'll talk about Brock Lesnar later on about the guy. But yeah, for Brock even saying that he knows the value of wrestling, he got respect for the Undertaker. But of course, business say, hey, you just do it when you get paid for it. So he just agreed with it. I mean, kudos trying to be against it, but again, sometimes, as Jericho said, if your boss tells you to do something, as long as it's not unethical, which is not unethical, it's just wrong. Hey, you can't do anything about it. So again, I give it a 9 out of 10. Maybe there's a more story to the Undertaker about him just being weak, or maybe he is getting too old. I don't know yet. We'll soon see. Because again, Undertaker's also a part timer. So, but again, good match. So the last one, of course, the big one, the very very big one, the main event: Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. So the first thing you think about in the beginning before watching WrestleMania, oh my gosh, it's gonna be Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. Okay, I'm gonna probably this is gonna be probably a bit long than the other ones, and the reason the Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar was bad in WrestleMania 20 was they weren't doing anything, and of course people know the reason is they wanted to do a good show, but at the same time they made an agreement because it was going to be their last match before they basically resigned because both of them didn't renew their contract after WrestleMania. They didn't want to get hurt, so but they wanted to say like two big guys, but they didn't want to get hurt, and that's the reason why the matches was so poor. People said it was BS, so they probably learned that lesson. So that wasn't the case against Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Uh, the thing about Brock Lesnar, okay, first of all, is the reason he's called the Beast Incarnate. He's supposed to be the strongest wrestler ever. Think of him as in Dynasty Warrior. He's Lubu. And Lubu basically is, if you play Dynasty Warrior game, or basically if you read Romans of the Three Kingdom novels, is that he's the greatest warrior ever. And he just wants challenge. Nobody can beat him. He's super strong. That's why when you trying to fight him, he has a very high attribute. The same goes with Brock Lesnar. That's why people said, "Oh, you can't," because that's always been his persona. Because what also some people don't know to some extent is in natural, Brock Lesnar is strong. Just in natural, he's just strong. He is. In real life, that guy's just strong because he probably worked out, whatever, or maybe he's just strong. That's what I'm just saying. So it's hard to explain what that means, strong, but he is just strong. But he does work out. It's not like no. He works out. He eats right. He's just that the guy is just strong. Sometimes I'm naturally strong. He does something just trying to make for show, like, oh shoot, he went too far. And that's the reason why in WrestleMania 20 they kind of hold back. Because it was same, believe it or not, what people don't also understand with Bill Goldberg. Okay, think of him as in Samurai Warrior, Tarikatsu Honda. So what happened if you meet Tarikatsu Honda versus Lubu? So they're basically equal. The same goes with Goldberg. He is strong. The only difference that Goldberg is too green. When he was in WCW, he wasn't really good at wrestling because he really apparently they never gave him a chance to train as a wrestler. I think by the time he went to WWE, he finally got better. But in WCW when he first started, yeah, the guy wasn't a wrestler. They gave him a chance. He tried it out, but the problem was they needed someone popular in WCW because of the Monday Night War. And so if not, it's on the Monday Night War. You can watch about Goldberg. So Goldberg's also a strong guy. So that's the whole point of why Brock Lesnar is the Beast of Carnage, because he's like Lubu. So with that said, that backstory. Now, what do you think of the match? Better than the Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, I have to say. It is much better. They were actually doing move, and of course, one of Brock Lesnar's signature is, all he does is F5 and suplex. Because the thing really is also is that part of his characteristic is, I'm a strong wrestler. I don't need a fancy move. I can just beat you by just suplex. Which is true because he multiple suplex, I think 10 times for Roman Reigns. And of course, Roman Reigns, even a big guy, but I think he's close to. Okay, if we're gonna put this in Dynasty Warrior, he's maybe Zhang Fei, strong guy. Because in Dynasty Warrior, usually one at Guan Yu. Well, yeah, but Zhang Fei's a bit stronger than Guan Yu. I think. I don't know, but he looks like a giant fate to me. That's it. So, he, so Roman Reigns he was trying to do multiple spear. He did Superman punch. He did try and counter a lot of his suplexes in F5, but Roman Reigns just gets F5 like three times. So I'm like, oh man, but it was pretty interesting. Like, wow, Roman Reigns never give up. He's still gonna get up. And like at one point that he able to counter Brock Lesnar because he hit him or he pushed him in a ring pole, and then you see Brock Lesnar basically busted open, and then he got groggy a bit, and then he was doing multiple Superman punch and spears. So you say, oh man, at least it's better than Brock versus Goldberg. But then all suddenly you think, well, is this gonna end like this? Is it gonna be just too big? Is it Roman Reigns gonna win the belt? And then there's an anomaly who came in, and that was Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, the architect of the Shield. Even I didn't hear when I heard the speech, like, what's going on here? He basically ran in, cashed in his Money in the Bank, and guess what happened? The match now have changed into a triple threat match. I didn't see that. That was actually, to some extent, I have to admit, that was pretty brilliant. Because normally, and people have said that, normally what happens is people cash in their Money in the Bank after a match, or when the guy was already weak. That's when you cash it in. So, but not during the match. And what happened was, the minute he cashed in that, the match changed from a 1-on-1 from Lesnar versus Reigns to a triple threat match to Lesnar, Reigns, and Seth Rollins. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't see that. And I was actually like, oh man, this could be interesting. So Reigns, being an architect, being sleazy, being a sneaky wrestler, because again, he's not strong. Seth Rollins is fast. And he's to some extent, maybe a technical / aerial wrestler. He does a lot of fly kicks, and then when you're trying to suplex him, he can counter it by landing on his feet. Because to some extent, Seth Rollins is light. He's still a light wrestler. He's not a cruiserweight, but he is light. So he can counter Brock's suplex. Because not everyone can actually can land on their feet when they get suplex. It's a lot of practice, but that's a different story. So, he basically curve stomp Roman Reigns. He multiple curve stomp Brock Lesnar. And then even at one point you think, oh no, Seth Rollins gonna get F5. And then you see Roman Reigns, he did a spear, and then when Seth Rollins basically landed on his feet, he actually curves on Roman Reigns. And again, this is always the part that you cannot get the hint is when somebody rolls out. Just like in WrestleMania 30 when Orton rolls out, it's the same goes with Brock Lesnar. When he got speared, Brock Lesnar did roll out. And you say, well, that's kind of like obvious. That's cheesy. What would they do? Well, you can also understand to some extent it is a safety reason. You don't want you want people to see what's going on. That's the reason why you roll out, and also to avoid getting hit or some mishap. So, yeah, let's just say the minute you see someone get in a triple threat match, you see someone roll out, you know the match is going to end soon. It's going to end soon. Again, it's just a safety reason, and also so fans, viewers who are in the front row can get to see it. That's it. So, of course, he curved stomp, he pinned Roman Reigns, he's now the new champion. So, what I think about it, I say that was brilliant. Is it wrong? Of course. But Seth Rollins is a heel. He's a bad guy. He's Money in the Bank. He betrayed the Shield because he's the architect. He's the strategist. He's the brains of the group. So that's what he does. So he was the new WWE champion. Should have been Reigns? Well, if Reigns was the champion, people probably gonna get mad because not a lot of people like Roman Reigns. I don't know why. Maybe it's like another John Cena. I mean, it's not really that bad for Roman Reigns, but I guess people just think of him as a big guy of the group. And if Brock Lesnar gets the belt, well, I guess people probably would like that. But the problem really also is that there are some fans who complain, oh, what? We're going to watch a pay-per-view without a championship match. Oh, Well, my opinion, that one, I don't know if they should always defend the belt on the pay per view. Maybe. I don't know. Because again, you do gotta keep in mind. Now, I'm gonna go. This is not in the backstage. I'm talking about off WWE. Is that yes, Brock Lesnar is a part timer, and oh yeah, for some people, yeah, he signed again with WWE for 3 years as a part timer because he only signed for part time. There was a story that if that he was willing to work not really full time but more hours if he gets paid more. But WWE said, well, we gotta spend all our money on the WWE network, and look what happened. So yeah, he's a part timer, and as a part timer, basically is it depends on how much you get paid. There is a rule that you have to follow. That you have to only show up a certain amount of Raws, and they'll tell you when. That's the thing. So that's that's why. And if you watch the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, you cannot see when he went ballistic and he got suspended. Of course, the storyline, that's part of the storyline. It's kayfabe because again, he is a part timer. That's the thing. That he can only wrestle in a certain amount of times. I think they do tell him, but again, so yeah, that's about Brock Lesnar, like why a part timer. So again, to the match itself, Seth Rollins winning the belt. Yeah, I guess good. Maybe they can do a better storyline. Well, it's have to see now because there's gonna be a lot of new storyline. So it'll be interesting to see that. So I give that one actually that one a 9 out of 10. Not too perfect, but the surprise factor was Seth Rollins basically jumping in to make it a triple threat match was pretty good. That was actually pretty, I would not think someone would ever do that. So that was actually good. I say overall the WrestleMania 31 was better than WrestleMania 30. It was worth watching it, even in my opinion. So it was a good move because of course it's WrestleMania. I mean, like I said, if you're gonna watch at least one pay-per-view every year, you gotta go with WrestleMania. You gotta go with WrestleMania because always it's the Super Bowl of WrestleMania to some extent. I know some people said it's not. I can sort of seeing it, but that's what it is. So those are my thoughts about it. I know it's 37 minutes plus those intro, but it's better than a four-parter 30 minutes that becomes 2 hours. So that's my blog about my thoughts on WrestleMania 31. It is good. So if you have the WWE Network or you decide to sign up, watch WrestleMania 31. Even you already know the result. The matches are really worth watching. So the next one I'm going to be talking about is Nintendo going mobile and my thoughts on Project NX. Now it's going to be a long one. I got my notes for it. I'm going to give like my full thoughts and also like the back history, what's with the project name. So see you then.